What's up, guys? It's Tuesday. It's May 23rd. It's 6:09 a.m. And this is going to be the crypto market update. We're going to cover some macro charts and the key market driving charts as well, too. So the 10-year yield bond, the dollar, the NASDAQ 100, gold, silver, Bitcoin, and XRP. So let's get into it because right now the bond yields, 10-year yield bonds, are still rising here. We're at 3.744%. And what I have on the chart already is the high down to the low, the Fibonacci retracement, the 786, the key one that we look out for, sitting around 3.9%. And it's looking like it could press up to there. Plus, we have this trend line coming down, coinciding with it. So this is our key point where we need to get rejected at. Because if we start rocketing through there, it's not going to be good. So that is the level to watch. You can set an alert at that level, but it does look like we could make it up to there. Because if we look at the momentum, and this is a weekly chart, we're starting to see a cross up on the stock RSI, headed vertical right now. Then we're starting to see the MACD ready to curl in and the TSI crossing up, and we're above the zero line. So that needs to be on the radar. Right now, we do have the blue above the pink. So we are in a bearish kind of structure, even though we're just ranging. If we see that pink fire up through the blue on top of breaking up through the 50 line, yeah, we could definitely get up to there. And at that point, we want to see an immediate rejection and rollover. Or if we bust through it and we start rising fast, we could be at the moment. Could be even coinciding with that debt default, all those talks for next week or the week after. So bond yield's definitely looking a little crazier as far as we need to watch this. It needs to be heavily on the radar. If we go down to a 3-day chart on it, we're looking and we see the stock RSI has already got up to these levels. So it's already up here. The pink and the blue are close, not yet crossed yet. The green MACD kicked in. It's rising right now. The TSI is headed up vertical, but we're below the zero line. So if we do see a quick little sharp rise up to here, get rejected, pull back down, it could be, false alarm type stuff. But for now, we got to watch it close. So let's go into the dollar. At the levels laid out, we're on the 4-hour chart, but let me go to the 12-hour chart because we broke above the 200 moving average, held that support, and now we're starting to fire up. On the micro level, if we go down to a 2-hour, we can see we had the high down to the low. We broke above the 786 right now, and we were riding the zero line of the TSI, crossed up, and look at that big spike right there. So it does seem like the dollar has juice to press up today. So where do we want to watch? We want to watch the 104.028 level, which is the 1618 extension of the Fibonacci, coinciding with the macro 618 level right here from that high down to that low right there. If we break above that, we could go up to the 2618, which is coinciding with the 786 of the macro. And usually on the micro, we do press up to the 2618 on extensions. And that kind of coincides right with that macro 786. So our key level to get rejected is around that 104.68 to 104.80. Could have a little sharp poke above it. But yeah, if we keep pressing up here, that's where we want to get rejected at. And if we're looking at the TSI, still headed up vertical. MACD, though, doesn't have as much juice as before. So it could be a little fake out. So we'll keep that on the radar. If we go to the 1-week chart, we are crossing up on the stock RSI. MACD's flipping green. TSI's crossed up, but we're way down here. We got a lot to go as far as getting above the zero line in the TSI to kind of say, oh, the dollar's flipping bullish. I don't think that's the case. The narrative is that, we're seeing a lot of countries dumping the dollar, de-dollarization. If anything, it would just be a relief bounce one more time, and then ultimately we'd roll over. So we got to watch that on the micro time frame, see if we're going to reach up to those levels, watch for the signals, the sell warnings, and then wait for the confirmations of us rolling over. But right now, we do see the MACD isn't have enough juice so far, but right now it is 6:14 a.m., so the markets haven't opened up yet. And we broke this kind of trend line coming up. So you can see that we started this trend line back here as, if I go down to a 6-hour, we had it as support here. We broke down below it, rejection, and now we're pressing up, trying to get above it. But we could get rejected here. Sometimes you'll see that is we'll break like a trend, like even back here, we have this trend line coming up like this, and you will break below and we'll try to fight to get back above, and ultimately it's not enough and we'll roll over. That could be the case here as well too. The bond yields on the dollar, we got to watch heavily. If we look at to the stock market, we're on the 3-day chart. We got above that key level, the horizontal line right here, which is where we kind of fell off from. We came up, got rejected. We broke above it over here with a nice volume, with a nice candle. We do pull back down. That's the level we want to hold. And we ultimately want to get above that 786 from this high down to the low here. That's sitting around like 14,000. And that's where we had a rejection point up here. And that's when we kind of went crazy up. And then we came back down, tried to hold support, broke down below. And then ultimately that's where we need to get above and hold as support. Got to hold it as support. We do see the MACD rising and the TSI rising as well too. That's a 3-day chart. So we want to keep that momentum heading up here. If we go to the 1 week, we're seeing that still rising. The TSI is above the 0 line. We're still good. We're still good as far as the stock market goes. And we're about to flip the EMA ribbon from red to green right now on the 1 week. It's pretty huge because we look to the past. Back here in 2009, the great financial crisis, when we flipped from red to green and had the EMA ribbon cross up above the 200 moving average, that's the key. The financial crash was over and we started this massive bull run. And right now we had the EMA ribbon flip to red and we didn't actually have it cross down below the 200 moving average like we did back here. We actually had it slightly kind of go under. We just kind of coiled up, it kind of stayed together. And now we have the price action above the EMA ribbon. The EMA ribbon's from red to green and it's above the 200 moving average. That's what we want to look for. So right now it does seem like we could be heading back up, and we got to hit those key levels and get above and hold as support. If we're looking at the 1 week, we do have the momentum. We look at the 2 week, momentum's heading up, and we're seeing the TSI cross above the 0 line, and we're seeing the MACD go nuts right now. Nuts. Highest MACD. It's the highest the MACD's been since 2004 or whenever this chart. 2004. So it's looking crazy right now. So if we go to gold's looking like it's breaking down a bit. And this is the 1-day chart. We're seeing the 0 line getting taken out. We're seeing some MACD kind of spikes here. We're seeing some sell-off. We're breaking below the EMA ribbon. I think we could come down to the 786 from this low to the high, which is coinciding with the 200 moving average sitting around like 1,868. If we come down to there, I think we're going to hold. Also, if I put this trend line kind of like from here, stretched out, coincides as well too. And yeah, I think this is going to happen. And I think with silver as well too, we're going to come down to 21.25. And that's a 786 from this low to that high, back down, coinciding with the trend line. And we have this rejection off the trend line up here. If we come down to there, I'm buying silver. I think it's time. I'm going to be buying silver if it comes down here. I want to get some exposure to physical assets and commodities like that. We got digital commodities. We need physical commodities. So silver, when it comes down to here, I'm going to be buying. Now, if we're looking at Bitcoin, we're on the 1 week chart. We're at 27,291. And there's a couple things here. So let's kind of peel it back. Let me hide the indicators. So one thing that I noticed, right? So I'm going to hide this. I'm taking this point, December 12th, as the kind of anchor, the vertical anchor. And I was looking at kind of this pattern on the right side. And literally, if you kind of fold it over to the left side, it's the same thing. It really is the same thing. And I'll show you that to be the case. So if I take this middle anchor and I take the bars pattern, I stretch it over, right? And then, so that's the pattern right here. And then I'm going to keep it at the anchor and I'm just going to flip it or mirror it. Now I'm going to flip it. Yeah. So we flipped it and then I'm going to drag it to where it should start. So this should start there. And look how it's the same thing. It's the same thing. So we pull up here, go back down, pull up, then we go sideways, and then ultimately we have a big move. So if that's going to be the case, we're going to have a big move here. That's what I believe. There's also other things that I'll show you right after this. But basically, if we look at the time as well, when is this potentially going to happen? We have to look at, so from here to when we had that big candle spike, so 182. Then if I go and I take it now and drag it to the right, 182, that says June 12th, the week of June 12th. So we should what happens on the left happens on the right, have a pretty solid move. So if we take what could happen, and then we're going to flip this the opposite way, right? And we very well could come down one little kind of wick down to the 24K, quick flash crash, and then a pump back up, kind of like what we did back here. Definitely kind of like what we did back here. This makes sense because then it would mean, we go sideways for a bit, or we could pop up here. Doesn't need to be exactly, but we're in the time range. Like we're about maybe just 21 days difference. It's not much comparing to it being 182 days. 21 days ain't much, but yeah, we could go sideways a little bit, or we could break out here. We are seeing some things that could, we could come up, maybe go retest 28.4, come back down. So we could go sideways and then have that spike. But June 12th, that's lining up with dates as well too, and narratives and things like that. But that's what I'm seeing. So we'll have it spike up, kind of retest under these lows here, like around 37, 38K, come back down, retest like 31.5, and then spike up to 43 to potentially 48K. And then at that point, we'd kind of have some consolidation here, kind of like this. And that would bring us out until October, November, right? And we'd probably go sideways. And then even if we stretch out this trend line, it lines up. It lines up. So I think this is going to be the case. I really believe it will. And it kind of looks like this as well too. And if we were to stretch this out, yep, see? It's the same pattern repeating over and over again all the time. And that could mean that, we could start firing off beginning of 2024, hit new all-time highs by middle next year. And definitely, I think that we're heading into a hyper boom. I don't think it's going to be anything like we've seen before. So I think that could be the case. But this is what I'm kind of seeing for the rest of this year for Bitcoin. But we got to take a look at Bitcoin dominance, because even though Bitcoin's doing that, this is like the perfect scenario what we want to see. Bitcoin doing that, but Bitcoin dominance tanking. So we go to Bitcoin dominance, go to the 1 week chart. We can see that we have a sell warning. So we have on the Stargate signals, a vertical red sell warning. Look at the past times we had the vertical red sell warning and the sell now. This was 2019 at the tail end of it. Then this was December 2020. We got the sell now January 2021. This is when altcoins ripped. Then we had some buy nows at the bottom of here for Bitcoin dominance. But now we have a sell warning on the 1 week. That came in May 1st. So how close are we to getting this 1 week sell now on Bitcoin dominance? We've already have one check mark, and we're getting very close to the second one. So this could pan out to happen by, like I was saying, that June 12th, or where was it at? That June 12th timeframe. Very well. A lot of things are lining up. So that's what I'm seeing. I think Bitcoin dominance is going to curl over. I think Bitcoin will still do well. It'll pop up, it'll go sideways, it'll kind of range, ascending range like this, like a channel. But I think altcoins are going to fire off. Absolutely fire off. It's going to be an altcoin summer, I believe. So now let's go into XRP. So if we're looking at the 1 week chart, we're still riding that trend line, support. Looking at the stock RSI, it's kind of stopping in its tracks, wanting to cross back up. If we look at this low, then a lower low, we have some hidden bullish divergence. So if we look at this low, right, and then this higher low, we have a low right here and a lower low. That's hidden bullish divergence. That's what we want to see. Then if we look at the TSI, we're above the zero line. Beautiful. And we stop dead in our tracks for the TSI, ready to kind of curl back up and keep on the momentum to the upside like that. We want to see a nice big green, dark green MACD spike come in here as well too. RSI is above the 50 line. That's all good. We want to see the pink break away from the blue. So the pink come up, blue come down. And if we look at where our resistance is, it's with the 200 moving averages here on the weekly chart around 50 cents. We want to reclaim 50 cents, come back down, hold that support. Then if we start to see these cross up, momentum kick in, we're going to fly, absolutely fly. You take this high down to the low, and that's where the 0.382 fib is on the macro right here. If we break through that, then we'll be coming up to like 77 cents. 77 cents, and I don't think we'd stop there because I think we're at the time. So that's the 1 week chart. if we go to the 2 weeks getting ready to cross, well, it's already crossed up, but if we see that fire up through the zero line, it's game on. Look at the last time we fired up to the zero line. This was our little fake out here. But when we really went right there, boom, right here, boom. That was our November 2020 bull run, the start of 2017 bull run. As soon as we see it go and we're seeing it go vertical, it's not like we're crossing right now over. It's time. It's absolutely time. And then, yeah, that EMA ribbon on the 2 week chart is coinciding with that 50 cent level that we're saying. So that's our big key resistance level. We need to get above that. If we do that, we're going to rip. So that's the macro kind of look at it. I'm not going to cover anything micro today. If anything kind of crazy happens, I will cover in a follow-up update. But that's it, guys. Come join the Discord. The link will be in the bio. We're sharing updates in here. We have a lot of coins on our radar for this altcoin summer that I believe is underway. So I'll see you in the Discord and in the next video.